Let's read these sentences. Are they the same or different? The first sentence. Marwa's brother, who is a tennis champion, visited her last weekend. I'm going to ask you this question. Has Marwa got more than one brother? The answer is yes, because who is a tennis champion is a defining relative clause. Defining relative clauses give essential information, and we don't use commas in them. And since this information is essential to define Marwa's brother, then Marwa probably has more than one, maybe a doctor and a tennis champion. Now, let's take the same sentence. The only difference that we are going to put here is the two commas. Marwa's brother, comma, who is a tennis champion, comma, visited her last weekend. I'm going to ask you the same question. Has Marwa got more than one brother? The answer is no, because this clause, comma, who is a tennis champion, comma, is a non-defining relative clause. Non-defining relative clauses give extra information, and we can omit them. So we can say Marwa's brother visited her last weekend. So this is not essential. As you can see, we put commas in non-defining relative clauses. Non-defining relative clauses are also called non-essential relative clauses. Let's see the difference between defining relative clauses and non-defining relative clauses. Defining relative clauses give essential information about their antecedent. I mean by antecedent, the object or the subject they represent. And without them, the meaning will be incomplete. While non-defining relative clauses give extra information. That is, we could remove it without changing the meaning of the sentence. Defining relative clauses never go between commas, while non-defining relative clauses are always separated by commas. Who, whom, and which can be substituted by that in a relative defining clause, while that is never used in a non-defining relative clause. Who, whom, which, and that can be omitted if they are the object of the relative clause, that is, if they are followed by a subject, while pronouns cannot be omitted in non-defining relative clauses. Steps to join two sentences in a relative clause. The first step, find the common elements. The man is very tall. I saw him yesterday. The common element is him. Him represents the man. The second step, cross out the second element. The third step, start copying the first sentence until the first common element, the man. The fourth step, write the relative pronoun, the man who. Who refers to people, so we are going to use the man who. The fifth step, copy the second sentence, except the element we had crossed out. Our sentence will become the man who I saw yesterday. The sixth step, if there is anything left from the first sentence, copy it afterwards. Our sentence will become the man who I saw yesterday is very tall. Check if you can write that instead of who. So our sentence will become the man that I saw yesterday is very tall. And check if you can omit the pronoun. Our sentence will become the man I saw yesterday is very tall. So we have three versions. The man who I saw yesterday is very tall, and we can say also the man that I saw yesterday is very tall, and we can omit that, and our sentence will become the man I saw yesterday is very tall. Relative pronouns: who, whom, which, whose, where, when, and that. Let's begin with who. The relative pronoun who refers to people. Example: the woman who lived here before us is a romantic novelist. It is also possible to use that when we talk about people, especially in informal language. Example: this is the girl that has eaten all the biscuits. This is the girl that has eaten all the biscuits. Now, let's talk about the relative pronoun whom. It is used to talk about people, but whom is more informal than who. Example: Mary is the girl whom I told you about yesterday. Relative pronouns that and which. The relative pronouns that and which refer to things. That is more usual than which, and it only appears in defining relative clauses. Example: the car that won the race looked very futuristic. Which is more formal. All cells contain DNA, which holds genetic information. The relative pronoun whose. Whose refers to things belonging to people. Example: that was the man whose car was stolen. The relative pronoun where. Where is used to talk about places. Example: we went to a camp where we stayed 2 years ago. The relative pronoun when. When is used to talk about times. Example: I never forget the day when I met you. To all my students, you know that we live in a special circumstance, the corona pandemic. I'm going to tell you that I'll never forget the day when I will meet my students again. Thank you for your attention. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our YouTube channel.